with an incredible story about a man and a little dog.
It begins with an ultramarathon runner named Dion who signed up for a 155-mile race across the Gobi Desert in China.
In the middle of the race, a small but mighty stray came out of nowhere and started running next to him.
The little terrier kept Dion's pace over treacherous mountain terrain for dozens and dozens of miles. Take a look.
I was running a 7-day race across the Gobi Desert that was 155 miles long when a stray dog started to run with me. At no point did I encourage her, but she seemed to pick me out of all of the runners in the race. It was like she wanted to be next to me. After stage 2 and 25 miles running together, she would follow me into my tent and would lie down next to me. I would start to think to myself, this poor little dog hasn't had any food or water, so I started to take care of her and feed her. I actually named her Gobi that evening, and we instantly bonded. These are brutal conditions, and here was this little dog happily running alongside me. Throughout the 77 miles of the race that she ran, she could have left at any point, she could have gone off at any stage, but she never did. She never left my side. I saw a huge amount of courage and determination in her, the same sort of resilience I saw in myself throughout my own difficult childhood growing up. I could tell that Gobi had had a tough life already, and I wanted to give her a better life. So I made her a promise in the desert to bring her home to the UK where I was living. I rang my wife at the end of the race and said, "What do you think about me bringing home this dog?" And she was all up for it. Gobi had to wait in quarantine, however, while I flew back home to the UK to try and figure out how we were going to get her back there, how I was going to pay for it, and how long it was going to take. Someone had offered to care for Gobi whilst I did that. Everything looked to be settling in place, but unfortunately one day I received a phone call to say Gobi had gone missing. I was completely devastated. Even though we'd only spent 5 or 6 days together at the race, she had already felt like part of my life and part of my family. So I knew I needed to fly back to China to find her.
Sweet. Dion is joining us on Skype from France. Hey.
Hi, how are you?
So what happened?
Well, I made the decision to fly all the way out to China, and I didn't know anyone in China. I didn't speak to anyone, but I started to put together a search and volunteer team to scour the streets looking for this tiny little dog in a city of 3 million people. And, I was extremely nervous, extremely worried about what could have happened to her out there. And I started off with myself searching, putting up reward posters, and then people came from all over the city and all over the country actually to help me, which was incredible.
That's amazing.
Yeah, for over 10 days we searched day and night for her, and we had literally hundreds and hundreds of people by the end of the search trying to find her, and it was like looking for a needle in a haystack.
Yeah.
Did you end up finding Gobi?
Well, it was late one evening and we'd had plenty of phone calls to say, "We think we found your dog," and this was another phone call to say, "We think we found your dog," and I was a little hesitant to go out to these people's home to see whether it could be her or not, but I was convinced to go out there. And I remember walking in through the living room, and across the other side of the living room was this little brown puppy dog that had followed me through the race.
Aww.
And she came running across the living room right up into my arms, and she was just delighted to see me. She was whining and yelping and crying, and I was crying, and it was Gobi. So I'm happy to say that.
Gobi!
Yeah!
This is the sweetest story.
I mean,
It's so amazing.
I get excited when I find my keys.
Yeah. Now, after you found Gobi, how long did you have to stay until you could bring her home?
I stayed out in China for about 4 months afterwards. So
Wow.
in total, I spent about 5 months in China. I took a sabbatical from my job, and she meant so much to me. I didn't want her to go missing again.
Now, do y'all still run together?
Yeah, we do. We're currently living in Chamonix in France in the mountains. Gobi loves running every day, so she doesn't do any more desert marathons, but she's still definitely up for either running around the mountains or running around after our cat as well. So, yeah.
I have to ask the most obvious question. Doesn't involve the dog. Why would anybody run a 155-mile marathon through the desert?
Yeah, it's probably not everyone's ideal holiday situation, Matt, but I've had quite a difficult childhood, and I used the race to actually burn through some of those negative things.
Oh, yeah.
I turned them into positives, and it's been something that's been a really good output for me over the last few years.
Absolutely, definitely. Absolutely. Dion wrote the New York Times bestseller, Finding Gobi. It's been printed in 20 languages, and there are versions for children and young adults. Why do you think your story resonates with so many people?
This little dog's captivated people's hearts all around the world, and I think that's because it's such a heartwarming and inspiring story. And there's so much sadness and pain and grief around the world that I think people are looking for something different, an emotional sort of high, if you like.
Absolutely.
And Gobi's story is becoming a movie as well, right?
It is. One day, 20th Century Fox rang me and they said, your story is so amazing, we'd love to make a movie out of it. And,
I love it.
I was just gobsmacked that, Gobi's story is going to come to the big screen.
Do you have a say in which actor gets to play you? Like Hugh Jackman's going to play you, or somebody that's like just ripped?
There's some pretty big names actually sort of tied to it at the moment that are pretty interested
It's
in seeing
classified
the screenplay. So I'm looking forward to that.
Does Gobi go everywhere with you now?
Literally everywhere. She loves to be by my side. If I do have to go to a race, sometimes she'll come along with me. And she's really living the dream and loving a new life now.
Yeah. How old is Gobi? Do you know?
We think she's roughly around 4 years old. So
she's a baby.
She was 4 on the 20th of June, which is our 2nd year anniversary of us meeting in the desert.
I love it.
Well, we love you guys. The story is so cool.
And happy anniversary.
Thank you, Dion and Gobi. Good luck.